Hello, Adele Bates here, behaviour and education specialist, keynote speaker, and author of Miss I Don't Give a Shit Engaging with Challenging Behaviour in Schools. So today I had an incident with some dog poo, and it's not the one you think. And I made a mistake. Oh, I feel like it's a mistake. I'm going to label it a mistake. And the ickiness, the awkwardness around that mistake actually enabled me to get to a fundamental truth around supporting behaviour in our schools. Because that's how my mind works. So, this morning I went on a walk on the seafront, and there was a woman walking her dog. And I walked past, she was coming towards me, and I was going there. And the dog stopped, and it looked like it pooped, but I wasn't quite sure because it's quite small. So I carried on walking, and then I noticed it had pooed, and she hadn't picked it up. So, one of those awkward British moments of how do you do this? How do you be polite? So I turned around to the woman and I said, "Oh, excuse me, your dog did poo. You didn't pick it up." And she said, "We're right next to the sea and the sea's coming in really quickly. It's going to get washed away, which is probably better than putting another plastic bag into landfill." And I agreed with her. Now, I don't need to, please don't write to me or tweet me with opinions of what you think should happen to dog poo. That's not what this is about. I will get to the behaviour bit in a second. This is just the setting. Now, even though I agreed with her in that second, there was still something in me that needed to defend myself, that needed to justify myself, because I felt awkward. I felt like a busybody. And I said, "Oh, well, I mean, I have got a poo bag if you want one." And to make it worse. So I don't own a dog, but I had poo bags in my pocket from about 6 months ago when I was last wearing this winter coat from my parents' dog. And so I said, "Oh, I can lend you one." And she was like, "No, it's all right. The sea is going to take it away." And again, I was agreeing with her inside, but my automatic response had been to, first of all, try and police her and try to maintain the rules and be an, inverted commas, good citizen, even though presented with the facts, I, from my perspective, had changed my mind and agreed with her. I think it is good that we have less plastic in landfill. And I went away feeling really awkward about that. And I felt like a busybody, and I felt like, and then I even said to her, "Oh, I've got some poo bags if you like. And I don't even have a dog." So then I thought, oh my goodness, now she thinks I'm a person who just walks around with spare dog poo bags, monitoring everybody's poo, which I don't. And my ego got a bit bruised, and I felt a bit stupid. And I left it for a few hours. I've been working this morning, we're doing lots of planning. And then I was sat at lunchtime kind of mulling this over when I realised this has shown me a fundamental truth that I kind of already knew, but I want to bring this out and share it with you around behaviour in our schools. And it's this: there are no new strategies to behaviour. There are no new approaches. There might be tweaks. I mean, you could do a countdown with kids, or you could do a clap, 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 clap. There's different ways to implement the tools that we've got, and adapting those for different situations, different kids, different times, different places, all good stuff. But the fundamental frameworks that help young people and whole communities feel safe, stick to guidelines that help the community, that help them engage in learning, they are pretty fundamental. And so I can't teach you anything new about behaviour in that sense. But what I can do is that other bit. That other bit where I went, what I feel, my judgment, I went a bit out of integrity with myself this morning. I judged that lady before I'd spoken to her. I felt it my responsibility to go and police this rule. And I almost let the fact that there was a rule outweigh the common sense behind actually the moment and the time and the place. Now, the reason that I may have done that could have been a myriad of reasons. It was very early, I hadn't eaten a proper breakfast yet, blah, 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 you know, all those things that we get in. And now we can start to think about how this happens in our school. We know, for example, that for Fred to be able to focus in his lesson, that we have to be really calm, we have to speak quite quietly, the instructions have to be very clear and repeated a couple of times, and he needs his keywords and his timer, let's say, for example. Okay, so those are some of the intervention practices that we might use for whatever his needs are. And the day that we're busy and we're thinking about parents' evening or the data implementation or the Ofsted inspection coming or whatever it is, we forget that Freddie needs to have instructions delivered calmly. We forget the timer. We left it in the last classroom and we say, oh, can you just do it with my watch? Who has a watch anymore? With a phone. And so you see, it's not the strategy with Freddie that is going wrong or that has become inconsistent, but it's ourselves. So the invitation here for me as well today with dog poo and women on beaches is to think, how can I, as a person working with young people with extreme behaviour needs, how can I fuel myself up so that I am able to remain, yes, boundaried and yes, a safe adult who is maintaining high expectations and does not let, as my nan used to say, you can't see the wood for the trees. How can I maintain those things and not let things that come up as if they're priorities, like rules, like grades, like data implementation, etc. How can I do it so that, yes, I do those things, and more importantly, I'm in a place where I can get that timer ready for Freddie. I can deliver the instructions in a way that he understands. I can check in with him and I can support his learning. All of those things are only possible if I'm in a place to be able to do it myself. So, if this has given you food for thought, I would love you to share that with me. As you can see, this is something I'm still kind of formulating myself, but I think the bit that I do know is that there aren't new strategies. It's about how we bring ourselves to those strategies, or how we bring ourselves to those behaviour approaches. That is what's going to make the difference. And we know this. We know this because let's say there's a behaviour system in a school. I've seen this so many times. And it's developed by someone and it works for them, but it doesn't work for many other members of staff in the school. But it's the same thing. It's the whatever it is, C1, C2, C3, or green, amber, red, or whatever system you've got. It's a really good example of this, that it's how we bring ourselves to these approaches that's going to determine how well they work with our young people. Okay, I'm going to leave it there for now. This has been quite a long video, but I hope it has given you food for thought. I do support often teachers and leaders with these kind of conundrums. How do we do all this and write a behaviour policy that Ofsted like? How do we do all this and support our trainees? If you want to work with me, then drop me a message or an email, and I look forward to seeing you soon. Thank you.